All right, guys. Welcome back to episode 221. This is your boy East Coast Trev, and I'm joined with my good buddy, Mr. Madman Mardick.
What up, brother?
What's up, dude? I know. Listen,
Missed you.
I know I missed you
I know I
too.
missed you.
I'm gonna address the problem and the situation really quick and just get it up and out of the way. The holiday is absolutely nuts, was absolutely crazy, and in the background we are actually, and you guys will notice a little bit different with the podcast. Now we actually changed over our podcast platform to actually a better, more outdoorsy style podcast platform called Waypoint TV. So we're super excited to be over there. So it was a little bit of, it worked out. We skipped a week out of 220 episodes. We skipped a week, and I apologize to all of you guys, but we're back up in action, and we have a great podcast for you this week. So what is up, Mardik, dude? What is the good word, and how are things going, man?
So.
Yeah, so. What do you mean so?
So.
Well, I
I
know
mean,
it was
the
crazy,
good,
and that
bad,
was
the
one of the,
ugly,
well, this
Don't
is
ask me what drives me outdoors.
no, I know, and
Because
that's it. Actually, kind of this all pieced together fine because like you had some crazy stuff going on at home, like you had the tree fall in the house and all the crazy things. Like things are nuts for you
truck.
too, so
Yeah.
it sucks. But
Um. Yeah. So I think the old Yoda might be totaled.
come
Um.
on,
I think so. I'm still waiting to hear back from the insurance, but she might be dead.
oh
So
man,
it's all good. I actually, unfortunately, missed a couple days in the woods because I was still gonna go the day it fell on my truck. And you know what the crazy thing was? I had hunted every single morning for God knows how many days.
yeah,
And that morning it was calling for so much rain.
I remember this.
My game plan was I am going to sleep in, right? Like, Lord knows I need sleep. So I'm going to sleep in, which is
Mm-hmm.
going to be nice. And then I was going to get up, and my plan was to head out midday for the rain break. Like, I wanted to get out like towards the end of the rain, get set up
Mm-hmm.
in the rain, maybe sit in the rain for like 20 minutes and then be out there, you know, for no rain. Then the tree fell, totaled my truck. I ended up, luckily, I borrowed my uncle's truck, so I had my uncle's truck within a couple hours. Waiting to hear back from the insurance about my truck, and I was still gonna go hunting that day, but unfortunately, there was some other, you know, adult things I had to take care of, so I ended up not hunting, not hunting that day. But
Yeah, it's all in
it happens.
good reason, man. These things happen, and
It-
sometimes it's part of the game, bro.
Yeah.
I
So
it's
I,
kind
you
of
know,
crazy.
it,
For me, like this year, it seems like the rut like just came in so fast, hit so hard, and then just like died.
yeah, yeah, you get years like that though, right? You get trickle years, and you get the ones that hit
Dude, they were
hot and heavy, and this was definitely a hot and heavy.
it was crazy. It was definitely one of those years. And I mean, obviously, dude, listen, it's only the 31st or the 30th of November or December 1st. Like there's still running action. They're starting to get back on those scrapes and kind of stuff like that here there, a little bit slower, not as much. But dude, when it was in the heart of it, like bro, there was sits. I mean, throughout the whole entire team, guys would see 6, 7, $8 in New England, like in a rut sit.
Yeah,
Like that's a good. That's insane. Like there was super super good. Like there's and then it just like kind of died. Like I went to one of my hot spots and literally was, I didn't see a deer, and I'm like, all right, this is weird.
yeah.
But I mean, in the
You got
cameras
a
kind of
second
died
rut
down.
coming up soon here next couple. I don't know, next week or so. You get a little second rut action coming in, and then
Hmm.
a lot of guys are big fans of that transition into the late season when they go back to the food sources and stuff like that. I've never been a big fan of that because I don't hunt a lot of
Hmm.
ag and green stuff, but
Right.
yeah, it ain't over yet, but
No.
I feel like the fun part's over.
Yeah.
Like the
The stuff
so
that we prep
but
for all season long, like the things that we look forward to all
oh,
season, have kind
the
of
shit
like,
we live for, yeah,
yeah, and it kind of slowed
yeah,
down. But hey, listen, it's no reason to not like now. The things that I look forward to is snow, fresh snow to go track.
right,
You
yep,
know, the muzzleloader season, like that kind of stuff. You know, it's kind of funny the other day, like, you know, it was a tough deer season for myself. I mean whatever. I shot a nice little 8-pointer. I missed a real big buck. Like I had a phenomenal season. Like if it was to end today, I could say that I had a great deer season. Can't complain. But I hunted the other morning and it was just slow going, whatever. I just wasn't feeling it. So I was going to go back out in the afternoon. I grabbed the old 17 Super Win Mag. I went for a walk
Mm.
and I went out squirrel hunting, dude. Like
Get a little jump on the squirrel competition, are you?
bro, I was, man. Like I was super excited, and it was funny as I was
What
sitting out. This is how screwy. This is how bad this is. I almost literally walked 3/4 to a mile back into the spot where I've been really hardcore deer hunting, chasing a real big one. I almost went in there squirrel hunting because there were so many squirrels there in the morning.
you know what would have happened?
I know exactly what happened. That is the reason why I didn't go in there, because I would have he would have stepped out and I would have been sitting on a rock shooting at squirrels and he would have stepped out and I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I'll go to one of my squirrel spots. I'll go out there and squirrel hunt. I shot a couple of squirrels, dude. I was pumped, dude. It was super awesome. Just they're running through the trees, bing, 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 missing and shit. Oh, dude, I was having the time of my life. I had a smile on my face from ear to ear. It was so much fun. I really love
That's why
squirrel hunting.
I refuse to hunt anything but deer as long as deer are in season. I
Yeah?
don't want to. I don't want any encounters.
No. Yeah, it's just fun, dude. Like it's just
So did you put the tape on them? What do you measure out at?
I didn't put a tape on nothing. No, I really didn't. I had to clean them up and get home for dinner, but I cleaned them all up and then put them in. I didn't tape nothing. I just had to know I still had it, dude. And I'll tell you what. I didn't hunt. I don't know if I hunted last year with a 17. I had hunted with my 22 mag. That
You know, you
17.
had the 17 last year.
Yeah, but I don't know if I hunted with the 17.
Oh, yeah.
I had it. I had borrowed one from a buddy of mine. That's kind of what got me into buying one. And then
Yeah.
I bought my own, sighted it all in, but I didn't hunt with it. I was hunting my 22 mag last year. That 17, dude, is a rocket ship, bro. Like
I
rocket
love
ship.
it.
I had a squirrel. It was like maybe like 20 yards from me, and it's coming down this tree, dude. And it's, you know how they get and they start barking, like he didn't know what was going on, and he's barking. And I put it right behind his shoulder, dude, and I shot, and it left this big red spot right on the tree. That thing hits him hard, like just that with the ballistic tips. It's just a cool little gun. Like I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
getting
they're sweet.
excited
They're
for
a
the
lot of
squirrel
fun.
competition because of that, but it's a fun gun,
Yeah.
super fun gun.
So,
Well, man,
dude, I'll tell you what. I had a blast with. I got to touch on real quick because I think last time we recorded was the night before.
hmm
Success with the old man. It was pretty awesome. Uh, we've talked about getting video cameras and filming hunts for since video cameras were invented. I feel
hmm
like and just something we never really ever got around to doing because you're just caught up in the season and killing deer is more important than worrying about video cameras. But yeah, me and Dad got in the same tree together, and that was cool too, right? So Dad's super old school, right? So what the hell is this saddle shit? Da, da, da. So
right.
I I followed him to his favorite ladder stand, and I climbed up first. Like I hung one latitude stick off the side of the tree, jumped over on that, hung my X-wing off the back of the tree, climbed up on that, and then Dad climbed up in the ladder stand. He was right in front of me, and dude, if you remember correctly, I was sick as a dog. I mean, I was sick. And that morning, I actually woke up a lot later than I wanted to. So I was kind of in a rush to get out of the house to go meet him. So I always bring a thermos of coffee for the tree, and I didn't have time to make coffee that morning.
Oh no.
Dude, I'm in the tree. I'm in the tree, and I'm literally crying. Like I have tears coming out of my eyes because my throat is so scratchy and itchy, and I just want to cough and clear my throat so bad. I have mucus just running out of my nose, and it was pretty. I felt like a kid again, right? Like when you're hunting with your dad and you're a kid and like you're making all kinds of noise, and you can tell he's getting kind of pissed, but he won't yell at you because you're
Yeah,
8.
of course.
Well, I'm I'm trying to. You got the sniffles, and I'm trying not to make all this noise. And like how it is, dude. Sometimes like you just make noises, like you can't help it. And there was a couple times like Dad kind of turned around and looked at me like, "Dude, what the hell?" And I'm
I
like, "Dude, I'm
know.
sorry, I'm trying, right?" And then we had seen a couple deer slip through some thick stuff, and it was it was past that prime time. Like we usually shoot there pretty early, 7:30, and it was
Hmm.
getting to be close to 8, and I sneezed. Like I didn't even feel it coming at all. Just just sneezed. And I covered up best I could. And like my first reaction was shit.
He's
But then I
gonna
was like,
kill
it
me.
kind of sounded like a snort weasel a little bit, right? So I grabbed the nor'easter game call, grunted 3 times, and 2 minutes later, here comes this 8-pointer slipping through the brush. And let me tell you this: the main reason I went with my dad is because I had been passing a ton of deer. I didn't really want to shoot just anything,
Right.
but I knew my old man will shoot anything that presents itself, right? So here he comes, and Dad don't play, man. Here he comes. I had to swing the camera around the other side of the tree.
Hmm.
I get the camera swung around the tree. I'm looking for the deer. I'm zooming in. I'm trying to find it on the the screen, which took me a minute. And I know Dad's he's probably got tension on the trigger already. So I'm like, don't shoot, hold on. As soon as I got that deer in the frame, I said okay, and boom, he dumped. So I mean, it was awesome, man. It was really cool,
Yeah, that's what it's
So
all
then
about, dude.
yeah, yep. So called you up. You came down, took some pictures and some video for us. It was a good morning.
That's what it's really all about, and we talk about it all the time, man. Like, those are those days that we remember as hunting with our dad, and we kind of get taken away with what we're doing, like you said, man, passing deer and hunting hard and chasing specific deer, man. But sometimes you just gotta kind of calm down, take it back, and go out and hunt with the fam. Even if it is hunting in that
Right,
same deer stand, it doesn't matter what the wind's doing or whatever the case may be. Like, sometimes you just gotta do that, man. Like, it's just the way it is, bro. Like that.
right.
I think about those things a lot, and I kind of got a little bit, there was my dad had shot a deer through the season, and it's like November 11th, bro. And my dad's texting me, and he's like, "Trev, I need help dragging a deer." I said, "Dad, it's fucking 7:30 in the morning, bro, on November 11th."
Mm,
And I kind of get choked up about it because there's gonna be a November 11th that I'm gonna wish that my dad called me to come and drag a fucking
right,
deer, and it's not gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't be in a deer stand on November 11th if it wasn't for my father. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
so it's kind of
Oh
one of
yeah,
those things that you kind of like, not take for granted, but like you gotta suck them up when you can, bro. Like the more time you can spend
I
or
know.
waste those days, like you get sucked into, videoing hunts and hunting hard and running trail cameras and all this other shit. And you kind of forget about kind of where you came from, kind of thing. And you kind of got to do it. Like, my dad shot it.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah,
Yeah. And I wanted to go and film with my pops this year, dude. Just been super, super, but when he calls, man, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I got out of work. He shot it at a big buck. He hit a real big buck. And I went and tracked with him for 90% of the night, and then he went back in the morning. Long story short, the neighbor ended up taking the deer.
Oh,
Um,
I forgot about that.
yeah, so my dad shot probably one of the biggest deers he's ever shot in his life. And he kept telling me on the ride home, he's like, Trev, he goes, it was a monster. It was all antlers. It was the biggest deer I ever seen, non-typical. He said there's points going everywhere. He said it was big, and for my dad to say it's big, I mean, Pops has probably shot 60, 75 deer in his life, And when he said that it was a real big deer, and he was just like so torn up about it, and then the next morning I called him and I'm like, Dad, what happened with the buck? What happened to the buck? And he's like, I tracked it right to the guy's backyard with drag marks, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. And the guy came out, it was super weird, but hey, it's those things, man. You just can't take those things for granted. You gotta spend more time hunting with the ones that you
Well,
love and the ones that brought you up.
the good thing is, I finally. It's taken a while, but I finally wheeled and dealed with my dad enough. Like because, like you said, he gonna shoot early, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna take long. And I'm like, dude, it's opening day and rifle season. Like, I don't want to get down, before 7 a.m. because you shot. Like, if that's the case, like I'll just sit in the truck, drink coffee, call me when you shoot. I'll come in and help you. Like, what's the point of me even getting in the tree? You know what I mean? Like, come on,
Yeah.
dude. And he's like,
My
what do you
pop's the
mean? I'm
same
like,
way.
because you are going to shoot before 7 a.m. tomorrow. I will bet my paycheck you are going to shoot before 7. This is opening day. Not, I went with him
Yeah,
Friday,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So
You're,
opening day, what?
you're gonna shoot. You're gonna shoot before 7 a.m. Guaranteed, right? So we went separate ways that morning, right? And I'm like, listen, just give me till 10 a.m. If you shoot, just hang tight, sit longer, go back to the. I don't care, but just let me sit till 10, and then I'll come help you deal with it. 6:34. Dad's got one down. I'm like, I told you. Like
Yeah, and then
you,
then when you hunted with him, it was 7:37 when he shot.
yeah,
My
that
dad's
was
the
late,
same
bro.
way, bro.
7:37.
Yeah. My dad's the same way, bro. My dad's the same exact way. And it's funny is that like I had this conversation with my dad and like he gets frustrated with me, like he's like, "Trev, I don't really care. Like I don't care about the big bucks, Like he's like, "Whatever, dude." I'm like, "Dad, you have some of the best hunting ground there is. And you guys don't worry about the wind. You guys go in and hunt, this that and the other thing." So he shot. It was a 6-pointer early season, right? Just to put one down. Shoots a 6-pointer, right? Well, I'm a couple days later, dude. I have all of his trail cameras come right to my phone because they're my cameras. I gave them to him. They're all my old spy points. So he runs them in there or whatever, and they all come to my phone. So I'm getting ready for work one day, and the phone digs. So I'm watching it, and I know there's big bucks where my dad hunts, and I see this giant bodied deer, and it comes across his camera, dude. It's like 60 yards from his tree stand. I know where it is, and I'm like, I text him, I hope you're in your deer stand, and he's like, yeah, I'm in my deer stand. I said, there's a deer coming from your left. And he's like, yeah, it's just a 4-pointer. I'm going to pass him. I'm not wasting my tag on a little deer. I'm waiting to save my tag for a big
Oh,
deer. And I'm like, wow, that takes a lot.
yeah,
Because,
trophy on me, Jim.
well, that's the thing is because he shot the deer that he had shot, right? Early season. He
Yeah.
shot a monster. So now he's got that in his mind. He's like, dude, like, there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's in his mind. So now he's like, I'm holding out. He goes, I'm holding out for a big one. He goes, I'm not wasting my last buck tag on a little deer. I'm like, all right. I'm like, it only took you 55 fucking years, but
I know. Funny. Well, it's just funny, like complete polar opposites, right? Like I couldn't even tell you how many sits I've done this year,
mm-hmm.
how many hours I've spent in trees. I don't even keep track, right?
Yeah.
Hours and hours and hours,
Mm-hmm.
days, and I've shot one doe. Right?
Yeah.
My dad's hunted twice this year for a total of
Mm-hmm.
5 hours, and he shot 2 deer.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It is what it is, man. We're at that point. We're in that, you know what I'm saying? Like we're just in that point where we want to chase a certain deer and shoot at a big deer, man. Like it's just the
Oh,
way it goes. Like
it's awesome.
and hey, listen, dude, like I didn't shoot my target deer in the rut days I thought I was going to shoot him. I shot at him. You know what I'm saying? But like whatever. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. So,
It doesn't even bother me, man, because I like the chase.
yeah, that's what
You
I'm
know what I
saying.
mean? Like
Mhm.
like last year. Last year, I shot a buck opening day, September
Mhm.
15th. Dude,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the same feel. It doesn't
No,
have the same feel as that grind and that chase and that getting up every day and is
bro.
today going to be the day and making the chess moves. And then when that all comes together, man, that's what it's all about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If I had my choice between shooting a target buck opening day or shooting a target buck the last day of the season, I'm getting my money's worth out of the
Yeah.
season, and I'm shooting them on the last day of the season.
You know something crazy? This is kind of funny, and this was before. Like, dude, I had shot and missed at that deer, the one the big one that I shot at. I then dreamed about that deer all the time, dude. It's all I thought about. I'm gonna kill this deer. I'm gonna kill this deer. I had a dream about that deer. I had a dream that it was snowing out, and I was in there, and he came in the snow. I killed him with a muzzleloader in the snow. So it's not over yet.
You know,
You still think about him, but he didn't show up on camera yet, in quite some time. So I don't know. It's on his, but whatever. It is what it is. Let's break into the sponsors, bro. We got a lot of room cleaning to do here.
yeah, I got a killer's corner. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, I won't at all. So We are presented by and title sponsored by Huntworth Gear, huntworthgear.com. Guys, listen, you guys missed out on one of the biggest sales for Huntworth Gear, so now you guys got to buy everything full price. So you want to get on over to Huntworth Gear right now, huntworthgear.com. Probably one of the biggest sales that I've ever seen from them. I mean, you could have got and hopefully they do something again soon. I'd imagine that they would, but they literally, the Matterhorn is $200 and something for top, and then $200 and something for bottom, and you could have got them for $178 top and bottom with the code. So you missed out on some good savings. Probably some of the best equipment or the best gear to wear in the woods when it comes to cold weather gear. The Heat Boost is probably one of the best products. This is my second full season throughout the winter. If you guys don't have any, now's the time to go and get it. And it is not an electric thing. Heat Boost is not an electric thing. I got a lot of questions about that. Heat Boost is actually one of those things that is it's a graphite woven string,
Graphene.
graphene
Graphene.
woven string that literally uses your body heat and radiates it back to you, collects it, and uses your body heat. Like, we talk about getting heat boosted, man. You start walking around in heat boost, you will sweat to death. Like, literally, no questions asked. Probably one of the warmest articles of clothing I've ever worn. Nor'easter Game Calls, nor'eastergamecalls.com, guys. There is a couple of grunt tubes over there. Start thinking about turkey season. Turkey season's right around the corner. You guys are coyote hunting, coyote hunting. There's a ton of open reed, closed reed, mouth reed, coyote calls. That season's right around the corner. Owl
Squirrel
calls,
calls.
crow calls.
That squirrel competition.
We're actually working out on an owl call right now. We're about to change that full fledgedly, and there is some really big news coming, guys. Just hold on and bear with me just a little bit longer. I promise you, you guys are going to be super excited about what we're about to do. We're going to break out with some really cool stuff. Latitude Outdoors. You guys can get on over there. There's actually still. Oh no, that's over too. You guys can use the promo code Outdoor
Is that?
Drive. Yeah, it was only
Oh
going till
yeah.
the 30th,
Today.
so today.
Today.
So that
They
that
were
Black
giving shit
Friday.
away over there.
Yeah, dude, you're getting three
Dude,
Latitude
three
carbon
latitude
sticks,
sticks for like 189. Yeah.
$180, $179. Like, dude, you guys missed out. But hey, you know what?
I
We
know a
put
couple
up, we
guys
did
reached
our
out to me.
parts. We
I know,
did our part. Like, we showed off and
yeah, I
told
know.
everybody.
I know. Jake Crowley reached out to me. I think he jumped in on the
There was
on
a
the
ton of
latitude
people, dude.
sticks.
I had a ton of people
Yeah.
asking me for promo codes and stuff like that, so they definitely were ordering it. But you guys can still get on over there. Some really good stuff. Latitude Outdoors. Kind of get your stuff ready for next season or whatever. Get some new ropes or the sticks, the platforms. A lot of really good stuff coming from those guys. And then last but not least, Bowhunters United, guys. It is very important you guys get on over there. It's a free thing for you guys as archery hunters and advocates of archery hunting, to kind of see what's going on in the higher ups of the politics of archery hunting, and they are the voice for us and the advocates for us. So bowhuntersunited.com for that one. All right, Steve, I'm done talking. Now you can do
Oh,
Killer's Corner.
thought you'd never ask. Killer's Corner. We got a bunch.
I figured.
First though, I got a birthday shout out, Stephen Carpenter. And I feel really bad because I was texting with him on his birthday and I didn't know it was his birthday. So I didn't say happy birthday. And then I realized later it was his birthday. So happy birthday. We got Charlie Pendleton, almost 70 years old, still killing studs. Derek Bouchard, doe with the bow for his first deer.
Congrats.
Our good buddy Tucker Hauser with a nice buck. Scott
Congratulations.
File with a nice buck.
Congrats, Scott.
I threw this one in the middle, Case and Carpenter, killed another one, whatever,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Certified killer.
Kind of
Cason's
tired
man.
of saying that name, but
I cannot wait until turkey season.
I know. I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Well, youth season with Cason. That's what I'm saying.
Chase Guthier, first sit of the
That's
year with a doe.
that's Buddy the Elf's son, bro.
I know.
Oh.
That's but where's Buddy the Elf been? I haven't even heard from him at all. Is he just taking the season off?
He's grinding, bro. He's grinding.
He's probably up. Oh, I know where he is. He's up at the North Pole making toys for Santa.
Yeah, exactly.
Gary Rivard got it done in Maine. Bob Covell filling tags in New York. Heather MK doubled up out of state and also killed a coyote. And our good buddy, Mr. Josh Brower, with a nice doe.
Yeah, buddy. Awesome.
stacking them
Congratulations
up.
to you guys. Make sure to get over to the Facebook page. Get your entry in there for the Killer's Corner. Some really good stuff. So we appreciate you guys and everything you guys are doing, man. It's good. So you got anything else to add before we break off to Trace to go hear about this great moose story?
No, man, I'm ready for this one.
All right, let's get on over. Let's get Trace on the line. Listening to the Outdoor Drive Podcast. All right, you guys ready? Let's do this.
Yeah.
All right, we're back on the phone with probably the luckiest hunter ever, Trace Armstrong. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. How about you, man?
You know, same old, same old. The season's starting to wind down with us here, and I'm almost glad that it's almost over because it was such a busy season. How about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Especially because I'm a taxidermist. So yeah, we always have a super busy season here. My hunting, however, got over pretty quick. The 2 tags I had, I filled them pretty quick. So yeah, it was a good year.
So you're just actually, as a taxidermist, you're just in the hype of the season now, just prepping and getting everything ready, and then starting to put back together everything and kind of ship it all off. So you're actually in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, for sure. So it was our rifle season actually just finished here this past weekend. So we have a 3-week rifle season in North Dakota. So usually for those 3 weeks, it's pretty crazy. Right now we're kind of starting into muzzleloader, and then we still have archery, and then like mountain lion season is coming up. So I usually get quite a few of those every year. So that's my favorite time of the year.
That's awesome, man. Let's put this thing right in 4-wheel drive. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do?
Okay, my name is Trace Armstrong. I own and operate Tall Times Taxidermy Studio in Rolette, North Dakota. I was born and raised here. My shop is basically on my family farm, 4-generation family farm. My wife Dawn, and then my son Bo. I guess that's about all the family history with that. But yeah.
What got you into taxidermy, man? Like, not everybody wants to be a taxidermist. Well, everybody wants to be a taxidermist, but not everybody can be a good taxidermist.
So actually, when I was young, my dad used to do taxidermy. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I would be looking through his taxidermy supply books, and yeah, it was just, so that's kind of what got me started in it. And I've always been artistic, I like to think, but I wasn't going to be a painter or anything when I grew up. So I kind of meshed my love for hunting and artwork together, and yeah, started my own business. So
that's awesome, man. Taxidermy, like you just said, it's a work of art. Like, there's not, I mean, anybody can put an animal back together, but can they put the life back into the animal? I guess I would say, because everybody can put an animal back together on a form, but not everybody can bring it back to life.
Yeah, correct. I agree with that 100%.
Because you see so many bad taxidermists out there. They're like, "Oh, I'm a taxidermist," and you're like, "Dude, you're not. You are not a taxidermist.
You're a taxidermist.
There's nothing worse than
a taxidermist." I like that. I like that a lot. So, Trace, the real reason that we wanted to talk to you, dude, was about this crazy thing that happened to you this season. Like, not only did you, it was a governor's tag that you won.
It was it's essentially like that. So North Dakota offers, I would say, probably 2 statewide moose tags every year, on top of just the regular lottery. One is auctioned off, and then one is given through a raffle. And There might be another one. I'm not 100% sure, but the one that I won was through the Game and Fish, the North American Game and Fish Museum or Game Warden Museum in Dundee. I bought tickets for it for probably 5-6 years, and I was donating to a good cause, so I really didn't care if I won or lost. And I normally don't win much, but yeah, on Father's Day, I actually found out I drew a statewide moose tag. You know.
And once you won that tag, like, did it all begin for you? Like, you decided, like, I'm gonna go and find a certain moose, or how did you, like, once you won, like, where did it all start to be able to chase this statewide moose for you?
Yeah. So basically, when I found out I drew the tag, I pretty much used my taxidermy connections, clientele connections, from people who had passed or in the past shot really nice moose or live in moose country, and other taxidermists. I just basically reached out to everybody I possibly could, just to get more eyes. That's a big thing in North Dakota. We're super flat out here, a lot of farmland, sloughs, stuff like that. So the more eyes, the better. But yeah, it was just it was a crazy experience because my goal was I was going to shoot it with a bow no matter what. I mean, that was my goal, to shoot it with a bow. I didn't care if it was a 40 was the lowest I was going to shoot. But yeah, I wanted to shoot a 40. So yeah, it worked out good, but there was lots of scouting hours that went into it. My wife, Dawn, and we had drove around for hours and hours and hours on end, just to try to find the right one. But yeah, apparently we did. So.
So did you end up one of your connections come to fruition and seeing this moose, or was it something that you spotted on your own, or how did that all go down?
So we actually had two bulls that were really close, and we live in moose country here too. We actually had two bulls that we were looking at. One was probably like, I know what he was. I got both the bulls that I wanted to shoot into mount this year also. The one was 43 wide, and he had probably about a 6-7 inch drop tine coming off one side. And I was like, you don't normally see that in a moose. So he was number 2 on the list. And then there was one bull that was, he was like 51 wide. And they were both about half an hour from home. So we were actually out, the day before moose season started, and my best friend's wife was on her way to work, and she called my best friend and said, "Hey, there's a giant moose 6 miles south of the house. You should probably go look at it." And yeah, so he called me and told me, and he basically said, "Yeah, like she actually knows how big a moose is. They all look big." So yeah, we kind of laughed about it for a little bit, and then another one of my buddies sent me a picture of him about 15 minutes later, walking away from the road into a tree row. And at that moment, I was like, "Yeah, this is the bull we're gonna go after."
So she wasn't the only one who saw this bull.
No, it was. So this bull, it's actually kind of cool. So I ended up shooting the bull and everything, and I had actually priorly seen the bull also from years past. Two of my clients have sheds off of the bull from the 2 prior years before I killed them.
Wow.
So yeah, it was super cool. But yeah, everybody, or all the landowners, they all figured he's about 9 years old roughly. So yeah, all the people around Powers Lake have seen this bull or watched this bull grow up, basically. So yeah, I have pictures of him from 4 years ago that people have on their phones, and it's a pretty cool experience.
So this is the day. So the day before moose season starts, you guys find this bull, see this bull, and then
Yeah.
the next morning you guys are then in pursuit for this thing. So take us kind of through how this all transpired, because that's kind of cool, because you spent all of this time with your wife scouting constantly, running the roads, trying to find it, and it's right there underneath your nose the day before you find this bull, and then now you're going to go and you pursue it. So kind of take us through that, Trace.
So my wife and I actually got up. So Powers Lake is about 3 hours away, 3 hours west of where we live in Rolette. My best friend and his wife, they live there. They drive this road. They've drove this road every morning for the entire summer, and never see the bull. So it was kind of just, it was crazy how it happened. I mean, it was all just kind of meant to be how they found him the day before. She found him the day before. But actually, so Thursday morning, my wife and I had a doctor's appointment or a baby appointment in Minot. We got up early because we were going to moose scout on the way to our baby appointment. We did all this. He called me and said this bull was here. I got the picture. We knew this was the one I was going to go after. We go to Minot. Our baby was originally supposed to be due at the end of September. We found out at our doctor's appointment he was coming 2 weeks early at our next appointment it was supposed to be the 8th of September. So that cut my moose season really short there. So I was like, this has to get done. I want to be finished with moose hunting before we have our son, you know? So yeah, I ended up, I drove home back to Rolette. I dropped my wife off, I packed everything, and I left for Powers Lake to go try to find this moose. So yeah.
And then, so do you end up finding him, or?
Yeah, my buddy and then one of my other clients and then my buddy were out driving around the field looking. It's kind of this like it was like a secluded canola field. It was, there was big shelter belts, like trees all the way around it. And it was almost like an old abandoned farmyard with a windmill in the center of this field. And they knew he was in this area, so they were driving around. Couldn't find him. And I'm obviously not driving super slow on the way over there, so I can find this bull. And the second I pulled into the field, this bull stands up out of the canola, like it was in a movie, you know. And he's probably only 450 yards away, and he looks like a Mack truck standing out there. I mean, it was unreal, you know. So just for it all to happen like that, and then to happen that quick and to find him right away, and how he stands up the second I pull in, it like I keep telling everybody, it was like it was just meant to be, you know.
That's crazy. So now he's 450 yards away from you. Is it hunting season at this point yet, or is it pre?
No, night before hunting season. Yeah, talk about tough. I mean, you're sitting there watching this bull, and we knew there was other hunters going after him too. So we were like, damn, you know, this is this is kind of a situation we have ourselves in. But yeah, we watched him basically until the sun went down, and pinned where we last saw him. We went home to try to get some sleep. That didn't really work out very well.
I couldn't imagine that it would.
It was awful, man. Like I get so nervous and so excited. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't do anything, you know. So, and priorly the night before, I didn't really get much sleep either because we got up super early to go moose scouting. So yeah, I get to my buddy's house and I can't sleep. I think I laid up and watched the video we took through the spotting scope on the phone, I don't know, 150 times maybe, you know. And yeah, it was like haunting. Like you just watch it and just keep playing different scenarios out in your head, what could go on tomorrow. So yeah, it was nuts. But 3 o'clock came super early. we got up at 3 and went and parked out at the field. Me and then my client, or I guess I'll call him a buddy. Me and my buddy, or me and my 2 buddies, we parked out at the field, and just waited 3.5 hours or whatever till the sun came up so we could find this bull. And I took a little snooze in the pickup, but I would assume that night I probably slept for a grand total of like half an hour, 45 minutes. But yeah, we wake up half an hour before sunrise and can't find the bull anywhere in the field. Can't find him in the surrounding fields. We drove around for hours and hours and looked for him and couldn't find him. So we, I think it ended up being about, 1:30. And we were kind of parked on the corners, and we're like glassing over this field, and all of a sudden one of the other hunters, we kind of see him like walking in the field, and we're like, oh no, he must have saw this bull somewhere in there, like maybe he's in the tree row or something like that, and he's making a stalk on him. So we're like, well, that sucks, but we'll just watch. I mean, if he shoots it, he shoots it. Good for him. But yeah, it was like he was pushing bush for deer, like a deer drive or something. But yeah, the moose, I mean, he never ran out, never came out or anything like that. So that kind of confirmed our suspicions that he was not in that field. So yeah, at that point I needed a nap. So I headed back to my buddy's house and had a good, 45-minute nap. And it was awful. And I finally got to eat for the first time in 24 hours. And then, so my one client buddy or whatever, he calls me and he says, where are you at? I said, at Colin's house. I'm trying to sleep, trying to eat, He said, well, get the hell out to the field. The bull is out there right now. And I was like, how do you know? And he said, well, my son is friends with the landowner's daughter on Snapchat, and she just posted a Snapchat story of this bull running in front of the grain truck into the field.
No way.
So, yeah. So I call my best friend, and I'm like, where the hell are you at, man? And he said, I'm like 20 minutes from home. I'm on the way back from work. And I was like, well, let's go. The bull's standing in the field. And I hang up on him. I get all my stuff ready. He shows up a little bit later. And we just peel out to the field in 2 separate vehicles. And he gets out there, and it's hard to explain. It's kind of like he basically just goes past the tree row out into the biggest, most open part of the field. And I guess the bull was just standing out in the middle of the field at like, I don't even know what time it was. I could find it on my phone, but it must have been like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This bull standing in the middle of this field on like one of the hottest days of the year. So it was like he was waiting for us, almost. So he calls me. I'm like 1.5 miles or 2 miles behind him. And he's like, where are you at? And I said, I'm just turning onto the prairie trail coming down the road. And he said, the bull is standing in the middle of the field. Get the hell down here. So I wheel behind him, and I'm like, no way, So I kind of peek my head out, and the bull is just standing there. And that was probably the dumbest thing I could have did, because then the nerves really started to set in. So, yeah. So at this point, I see the biggest moose I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes, and we basically say, let's just go. We got good wind. Let's just make the stalk. So we start bahaing through the canola field, and we get up to the edge of the trees, and we can just see his antler tips. And we kind of try to make a plan, because he's kind of like looking quartered away from us. So he's not looking in our direction. So we feel like we can get pretty close. And I'm pretty confident with my bow. I wanted to get to 70 yards, and that was my max distance on the moose, So we kind of start getting closer and closer, and we get to 90 yards, and he beds down in the canola field, and you can still see like his tips just sticking up above the canola. And I was like, wow, you really want to die. Because it was just like a picture perfect moment. You know, that's what you just want to see and what you love to see when you're making like spot and stock hunting, you know. So yeah, he laid down and we were at about 90 yards and we just kept going and going and going. And I think we stopped at 65, 55, and 45. And my buddy or my best friend just kept saying, yeah, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. And I'm like, man, this thing is like shooting a piece of plywood. Like, I'm going to be able to hit it, you know? So I don't want to get too close and scare him. And he's like, we got good wind. It's still windy to this point, but it looks like we're going to lose all of our wind in about half an hour. So let's get as close as we can and just make it a sure thing. So yeah, we kept stalking, and finally we get to 35 yards, and I don't know how long our stalk was or how long the whole ordeal took, but it felt like it took 15 minutes to get there, and it took 3 hours for it to happen after that point. You know, it was just, it was like, and it was 92 degrees outside. We didn't bring any water out in the field. And so we're just getting baked out in the middle of this canola field, sweat running down my back, down my arms, down my face. And I really hadn't eaten up to this point or slept very much. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, damn, I'm really going to pass out before I even get a chance to shoot this moose.
Could you imagine?
So it wasn't. Oh my God. How disappointing would that be? Yeah, it was 35 yards from a giant moose, but I passed out and couldn't shoot him, you know. But
I mean, it would just add to the roller coaster of the ride that you've already been on, of him showing up, seeing him the night before, so on and so forth.
Exactly right. It was nuts. Like, I was sitting there and it was so tough. And he kept almost getting up. I don't know if he was stretching or what he was doing, but you could even hear him like grunting and breathing because we were so close to him. And my buddy or my best friend that was sitting by me, he kept ranging his paddle. And he was like, I'm getting 35 yards. And I was like, oh my goodness, range him another time. So we probably had a good 300 like times he's clicked the rangefinder button at this bull antler. But yeah, we ended up, we were waiting, and I think I got to the point where I just started messing around on my phone because I didn't want to look at him. I was just, because I kept getting more nervous every time he stood up. So yeah, he finally stands up. I told myself that I'm not even going to look at his head, his antlers, nothing, because I knew I would just freak out. So I drew back. I told my buddy to range him one more time, and he just said 35 yards, and I just knew I was in the realm of where I needed to be and touched off. And I basically blacked out. So I'm glad my buddy got it all on video, because I couldn't tell you what really happened. But yeah, he took off, almost a complete pass through. I think just the fletchings and the wrap was the only thing still in him. He ran 60 yards and sat there for, I don't know, 30 seconds. And then he just tipped over dead. So yeah, it was nuts. I threw my bow. I couldn't find my bow. It was in the canola somewhere. I was so jacked up. My buddy tackled me into the canola, and it was nuts, man.
That's so wild. So one of the things I bring it back just a little bit, because a lot of the Eastern guys that are listening to the podcast or whatever, they might not understand how this works in a spot and stalk. So like you're now just using the cover. Obviously the canola is pretty high, right? I would imagine I'm envisioning somewhere waist to chest high, trying to get as close as you possibly can to the animal. Then you get in range, and then you're waiting for him to stand up. Is there any type of motions that you would do to try and get him to stand up, or like?
So we I've done it before, like when I'm going mule deer hunting and stuff, and it seems to always just work better to have the animal stand up by itself. I feel like, I mean, I've thrown rocks at mule deer, tried to get them to stand up, and it seems like they always, I mean, I'll get into this. I'll do this story later too, but I've had bucks stand up and just take off right away. I've had bucks not even stand up. It's just, and at that point with an animal like that, I basically said I'd rather just wait this out. If it takes 4 hours, it takes 4 hours.
Right.
You know? I'm not gonna mess this opportunity up. But yeah, you're completely right. It's spot and stock is excuse me. Just kind of using the cover, making sure your wind is right, obviously. And just, it's a lot of watching the animal, trying to see what they're feeling, how they're acting. But yeah, it's my preferred type of hunting. I really enjoy spot stalking with a bow. It's pretty badass.
Did you know at this point that this animal was world class at this? You just knew it was a big bull, or I mean,
it was more like I've said this since I shot him. I shot him because I wanted to, not because I knew how big he was. I knew he was a big bull. You know, I mean, like I said, I'm a taxidermist. I mount tons and tons of moose every year. And when I looked at him, I just said, that's the biggest North Dakota moose I've ever seen. Like other than like an Alaskan moose, it's probably the biggest bull I've ever seen. So it was, I was going to be happy with him. I was going to be happier with a lot less than him, you know? So and especially because we were planning on having our baby was coming soon. I was like, yeah, this is the bull, you know? Even if I would have lasted all season though, I wouldn't have changed anything, you know, that tag. So.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you set your mind on it, like you were going to shoot the drop tine one, you know what I'm saying? And you set your mind on it and you know what you want, whether it is a 190-inch whitetail or, you know, a 60-something inch, you know what you want. Like, that's what you want. You set your mind on it. And it's, you know, like for us out east, like, I don't know out west for you guys, but like, out east, we use trail cameras a lot. So, like, we set our mind on it, and we fall in love when we see it. And it sounds like it's kind of the same thing with the moose. Like, you saw him, and you fell in love with him. That's your moose. That's the one you want. That's the one, no matter what it takes, that's the moose that you're going to chase.
Yep, exactly right. And we do that, too. Like, we use trail cams a lot for, like, our whitetail hunting and everything. And I completely I feel like that's just how hunting is. You know, I'm not ever going to be a guy that's stuck on the inches, you know, even with this moose, I never really was or am not. It's cool that he scores as high as he does. But I'm in it to shoot a mature animal that has a good representation of what I want to hunt, you know? So yeah, when I saw this bull and just saw the size of his body and just everything, about him, I was just like, yeah, that's exactly what I want right there.
So now you have an arrow in him, and you watch him go down, you fall apart, and then you walk up to him. Like, what is the thoughts that are going through your mind, like, as you walk up to this animal and see what he's all about?
So the worst part about it was we didn't even go up to him right away. We had to go back to the pickup because I was like, I'm about to die from dehydration. So we get back to so we walked back to the pickup, and there was, I shit you not, probably 30 people out there watching, like parked around the field watching me kill this bull. So there was vehicles lined up everywhere. I felt like a celebrity. It was nuts, you know. And I shoot this bull. We watch him fall. I hear horns honking everywhere, people screaming, yelling.
Come on!
Then we end up, and then we get back to the road, and everybody had drove over there. So there's like a convoy of vehicles, and everybody's cheering and yelling, and it was nuts. So, but at that moment, I was concerned about my water, you know. So I get some water, and I actually got a sweet video on my phone. The person at the back of the line, when we went out to walk and find the bull, they took a video, and there's just a line of people walking through this canola field out to this bull. But yeah, when we got there, it was like probably the most surreal moment. One of the more surreal moments I've ever had in my life. You know, I mean, this thing's laying all tangled up in the canola. And yeah, it's super tall. It's probably like armpit height on me, and I'm like, I don't know, 6'2", 6'1". So it's pretty wicked stuff. And it's really tangly. So yeah, this bull's like, his antlers are tangled up in this canola, but you can still see like his width. He's above it like a good ways. And I walked up to him and I just lost it. I couldn't even talk. It was an unreal moment.
That's awesome. So I guess you wouldn't see that out east where a bunch of people are cheering you on for shooting something. So it's definitely, were they all like hunters, or they've all known about the moose, or how did that, like, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. So it was like, Towers Lake's a pretty small town. So there was a lot of people that knew about the bull. So there was some people just from town. There was, the landowner's daughter, son, the other people that were trying to hunt the bull, or that were hunting the bull, also watched me shoot him. They shook my hand, they congratulated me and everything. So that was really nice. You know, I feel like we're kind of in that age where hunting is, like you said, nobody will cheer you on to shoot something, especially if you guys are trying to shoot the same thing. So yeah, it was super cool that they came up and they talked about it. We shared pictures back and forth and everything like that. So yeah, it was pretty sweet moment.
It sounds like it's the true camaraderie of what hunting really should be, right? Where like everybody's kind of working with one another, like congratulating, telling the stories. We talk about it all the time here, like the days when we were kids and we would all go to the check-in station to go and see what everybody else shot. So it's probably the same thing, but it's in the field. Like you don't hear stories about that at all. Like you would never see that.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. You're 100% right. Like they might not have been thinking, "Oh, great, I'm so happy this guy shot this bull," but they definitely had the I don't know if you call it respect or what you really want to call it, but they wanted to hear my story and how it all went down when I was out there. And they did seem like they were happy, happy for me. And the guy actually that had the tag, he killed a giant bull later in the year too, right north of Powers Lake. So probably about 10, 15 miles from where I killed mine. But yeah, he killed a super nice bull. So I was super happy for him too.
Did you end up doing his taxidermy on his bull after?
No, I didn't actually. The guy that, the moose biologist for the state of North Dakota, he's one of my really good buddies too. And he's friends with this guy, so he's the one mounting his moose. But yeah, and that's just a whole nother story. I'm super good friends with the moose biologist, and I end up like a week after I shoot this bull, I go down and I pretty much kind of surprise him with it, I guess, almost. Like I bring it down, and I pull it out of the back seat of my pickup, and he's like, "Man, I've been around moose my entire life, and that is the biggest one I have ever seen." So that's always a super cool thing when the biologist tells you how big something that you shot is. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
What is like the population of moose out there? Like, is there, because like I wouldn't think about it. Like here we have a ton of moose north of us, and like, but I never realized that there was a ton out there until like talking with Devin and stuff. He's like, "Bro, he wanted me to buy the tags from I had bought a couple of raffle tickets actually. When he's there at the dinner or whatever, he'll call me, but bro, you want a couple?
Oh, really?
He's like Venmo me a couple of bucks. I'll buy you. I bought like 5 or 6 of them in the past or whatever when he's there and stuff. So like, and then I was like, dude, there's moose out there. Like, so what is like the population of moose out there?
I don't even know what it is. Really, I looked it up earlier in the year to try to figure out like my draw odds, and stuff like that from buying the raffle tickets in comparison. I'll have to look it up, but I don't know. There's a ton of moose up here. Like, I mean, you can drive around. Like, every time we'd go scouting, we'd see, I don't know, 10 moose, maybe 5 to 10 moose every time. There was, I bet we had pictures of, and we're looking at probably 40 different bulls across the state that were up to the point of where I would possibly shoot them. But yeah, it's pretty nuts to see. North Dakota's been super fortunate for, just a plug to the moose biologists. They do a super good job in North Dakota with it. The management of them, the population is just growing crazy, and the quality is obviously there. So,
what's the subspecies of them?
so those are they're Canadian.
Oh, okay.
What they are. So I believe it's probably the same as you guys have over there. But I think they have Eastern and then Western Canadians are kind of the subspecies under Canadians. But they're Shiras, Alaska, Yukon, and then Canadian are the three.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. The Shira, that's the Indian one, right? That's the one that's on the Indian Preserve or whatever.
No, those ones are in like the Western U.S., so like down in Wyoming, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, stuff like that. You know, they are probably the smallest, or I know they are, but they're the smallest of the three. It kind of goes Alaska, Yukon, Canadian, and then Shire.
That's so cool, though. That's so awesome. That I think it's the most incredible story I've probably heard about something getting taken. Honestly, like that's like everybody being there, like everything, like. And it's funny as we talk about it, like me and Steve will talk about this a ton. Like a deer it will tell you when it wants to die, right? Steve, like it will put itself in the position when it wants to die. Like it knows when it wants to die, and it will.
They choose you.
Yeah, they choose.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
I bet you have a ton of muley stories like that.
I had a quick question. I didn't want to interrupt you before. You said you wanted to shoot your bull with the bow. Is this an archery at this point? Is it archery only season, or those other hunters were they able to gun hunt at this time, or was everybody hunting only archery at this moment?
Yeah, it was just archery at that moment. I believe so. Archery season opens on September 1st, and it's archery from September 1st to September 24th. Then season takes a break for 2 weeks, moose season, and then rifle season opens on October 14th. But like I said, I mean, rifle really wasn't even in the cards for me. You know, I would have way rather shot a smaller bull with my bow than shot a bigger one with my rifle.
Right.
You know?
I was just curious if there was a potential for somebody else shooting this bull with a rifle while you were trying to get close.
Could you imagine that? Making a stock on the bull and it gets rifled out right from underneath you? Holy, that would be quite the surprise. But no, yeah, it was just archery only at this point. But yeah, like I said, and I've always said my entire life, I was like, man, I'd love to shoot a moose in velvet. You know, like you never see them in velvet. It seems like they usually shed like the week before season ever comes around. So I don't know if it was just the year or how it went, but every bull we had watched was in velvet. And I even said that too. I was like, if there's a small bull or a smaller bull in velvet next to a bigger bull out of velvet, I'll shoot the smaller bull every day of the week because I'm I'm nuts for velvet. I just think it's the coolest thing.
That was one of my questions. Like, are they normally in velvet the first week of the season? Is that why they set it up like that, or what?
I don't know. It's weird. So like even our archery deer season starts at the same time, and I think naturally like deer just shed their velvet a little bit later. But it seems moose, they shed it like a week before season every year. Mm-hmm. You know, you see bulls like that first week of September, they're shed 99% of the time. So it was like I said, it was like everything just lined up, and I was just meant to kill this bull in velvet. just how it all worked out before we had our kid, and a giant bull like this,
Yeah. Is it a once in a lifetime tag? Like, so now that you've gotten this tag, are you allowed to put back in on a draw again to keep trying to draw for another moose tag?
So that's the best part about this is that, so like when I got this tag, you buy the tickets, they sell 5,000 of them. I only bought 4, and I think they're $10 a piece. So I spent a whole $40 on tickets, and won this moose tag. I had my wife's name on 2 tickets, my name on 2 tickets. But yeah, to get to your question, I can still, like, in North Dakota, if you get drawn through raffle allocated tags, you cannot put in again. That's your one tag, you're done. Cow or bull. If you draw your cow tag, that's still considered your once in a lifetime, you're done.
Oh.
But so since this was a raffle allocated tag, I can still draw my once in a lifetime tag for the state of North Dakota. So yeah, I could do something that not many people get to do, is shoot two moose in the state of North Dakota, which doesn't, I mean, there's a very, very small percentage of people that have ever done that,
That's crazy. That's nuts. Could you imagine you draw next year like your once in a lifetime tag or something, even 10 years down the road, and just be able to shoot 2 moose? Like, that's wild.
I'm sure there'd be a lot of unimpressed people if I drew it next year.
Especially being friends with the moose biologist.
Yeah, you might want to just take a year.
They'd be like, yeah, something's going on here, man. I'm not sure. Yeah, I might just not put in next year.
Take a year off.
Yeah. No, it was a super cool experience. I mean, from the scout, I think that was probably the hardest part of the hunt, though, was scouting. I mean, we put so much time in, just to try to find a bull that I was going to be happy with, and then for it basically just to, all happened. And me and my best friend and my wife all said this too. It was gonna come down to the day before season for us to find the bull that I was gonna go after, and we said that since we found out I drew the tag, and then it just happened exactly that way.
So you were talking with go ahead.
With the scouting, is it pretty much all road scouting and glassing? Is there any boots on the ground looking for sign and rubs and scrapes and wallows or anything like that? Or is it just all glassing fields?
Yeah, pretty much all in the vehicle glassing. Like I said, North Dakota is super, super flat. So it's a lot of just covering area. Moose really love like cattail sloughs, tree thickets, stuff like that. So it's a lot of just knowing where they're at and kind of driving around and trying to catch them in the right place at the right time almost so you can see them. And it's a lot of, like I said, getting in contact with people, and they say, oh, I'm combining my wheat field and I just kicked out a really nice bull. It's right here, and then you head up there and look at them, either cross them off the list or put them on the list, kind of what you want. There's some spots in North Dakota where you can get boots on the ground and go try to look for moose, but it's kind of few and far between. A lot of farmland hunting is what moose hunting is in North Dakota.
Right. And then now what's the how's the permission work? Once you find the bull, do you need to get a hold of the farmer that it's on and get permission to hunt that land, or is it, as long as it's not posted, it's a green light, or how does that go?
Yeah. So with farmland here, it's basically posted if it's not harvested. So like this was a standing canola crop, so it was basically posted, so we had to get permission. But after we found out, or we knew where this bull was, my best friend, he called all the people in like a 2-mile radius and got permission on all this land. So if the bull had moved onto the neighbor's property, we had permission to go out there,
Now, could you imagine if they didn't give you permission? Like, then what? Now you're watching him, hoping that he's going to go to another piece? Like, if you only had one piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, that would be terrible. And that was that's the biggest thing too. Is like if you got to thank the landowners a ton for everything. Like just allowing us to go out and hunt them. You know, like if that one person would have said no, I mean, we would have sat there and watched this bull for days until he moved off or something like that. He may have never moved off because I guess everybody had said he spent every summer there. I mean, he had lived in that field for like 5 months, you know.
Is that where they found his sheds too?
So he actually, my two clients that had found the sheds, the bull actually moved like right after, like right before rifle season. He moved like 10 miles away into a, it's like a lot of willows and trees and sloughs. He moves he moves a good distance away. So they found his sheds up there. But they obviously knew it was him because there's not many 60-inch bulls within a area like that in North Dakota, number one. And then number two, they have pictures of them in velvet or like early season, and then have pictures of the sheds, and they obviously match up.
So did they give you the sheds?
Oh, that's my question.
They did not.
Come on, boys. Fork them over.
It's not like whitetails, because like if you shoot a
told-
big whitetail like that, like you're supposed to give the guy the sheds. I mean, that's part of the game.
Man, I don't know if I could have gave up the sheds to somebody else. So this bull last year, he was, what was he last year? I think he was like 58 inches wide. But he had like a 2-foot like paddle or like a sword that came out of the back of his paddle. It's absolutely nuts. You know, it's like nothing I've ever seen on a moose before. And it's so crazy because like, I was like, well, how do you know it's the same bull? And everybody always asks that, but I have taken pictures of these two bulls and put them right next to each other, and every point goes the same direction. It's like unmistakably him. But then again, like I said too, how many 60-inch bulls do you have within a small amount of area in like Powers Lake, North Dakota, you know?
Those characteristics.
I know those boys are listening to the podcast. Fork them over, boys. Give them the sheds.
No, I'm fine with that. But like the one guy, he had a ton of work in here, and I was trying to wheel and deal.
I was wondering.
Hey, you take your fish mounts and your badger mounts and your deer and your antelope mount for free if I can get those sheds, you know. And he still said no, but that's okay. You know, I know the guys really well, so I get to at least see them, which is still a really cool thing to hold them. I'm sure when I get the mount done, I'll have to get a picture with both those guys and set the sheds and the mount. It'll be pretty cool.
I don't know. That'd be a pretty hard trade, dude. All those mounts for just the sheds. Like, I don't know. I'd think twice about that. The wife would be happy, right?
I know. Yeah, no, she was like, hey, that's our house payment, you know, or something like that. But it was, it was. I mean,
it's so cool.
It's just so cool. I would like to have them. It would be awesome. And he said maybe some down the road we'll do a little wheeling and dealing. But man, the sheds are just like, it's something out of this. Like that one set is like something out of this world. You know, like nothing I've ever seen on a moose before. So yeah, it would be super cool to have him, but I can understand why he doesn't want to give him up.
Well, you think this too, man, with it being the number 2 velvet moose right now, that for them to have the sheds, man, like they're living that too. You know what I'm saying? They found those sheds. They're like, dude, this is the number 2 velvet moose in the world right now. Like that's no joke.
Yeah.
Like, and to have those, so like I don't blame them. The nostalgia of it, like I would want to have them too. Like when I'm showing my buddies drinking beer, like, bro, look, these are the sheds. I found these sheds. You know, like
I got a piece of the pie, man.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's just gonna be a super cool ordeal to. I mean, like I said, I love them, but I can completely understand why, and I don't really have to be super upset about it because I have him sitting up there, you know. So
you have his last set of sheds. You have his last set of sheds.
Yeah, his last set of sheds. Yeah, no, it's funny every time people come into the taxidermy shop, they're like, "Is that your moose?" Yeah. Oh, you should have let him go one more year.
Oh,
Kind of joking or whatever. Everybody does that stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know if you can joke about that one. Like that's just yeah. It's just such a crazy experience, and everything I've gone through so far is just like nothing I ever expected to go through. Um, it's just like I'm just a regular guy that shot a moose and just happened to be lucky that he was as big as he was.
Well, not only did you shoot that moose, but then you shot your biggest whitetail. It wasn't that far after.
Yeah. So actually the coolest part of this is like just this whole year was so busy, but my son was born 8 days after I shoot this moose, on September 9th. So that was like the best thing that's ever happened to me and my wife. I mean, it's just unreal being a parent. So yeah, I've always dreamed about having a son and like sharing hunting memories with him and stuff like that. And so I end up, I can't even remember the date I shot my whitetail. If I looked at the tag here, I could tell you, but it was like we had our son and we were home quite a bit, just we'd come out to the shop every once in a while, but didn't get a lot of work done, didn't get a lot of hunting in, which is understandable. But I think it was like the second time I went out hunting since we had our son. And this buck shows up on our trail cam on Friday. I said, that is a deer I want to shoot. I ended up going out Saturday night and I killed this buck. And I got a picture with my son and my wife with the deer. It was just super awesome. I've kind of had a 4x4 curse for my entire life. All I've ever shot is 4x4s for whitetails. I think I've shot like 11 4x4s now. And so I see this one and he's got some stickers and some extras. And I'm like, oh yeah, I break the 4x4 curse if I get this one. So yeah, that was a super cool experience too. I took the dreaded frontal shot on him, but he only went about 20 yards, so can't argue with the results, right?
was that also from the ground or were you in a tree?
In a tree. We have a blind down on some of our stuff, and it's kind of like it's been 4 or 5 generations Armstrong land, and we pretty much kill all our whitetails out of that stuff. So, but yeah, it was pretty sweet. My biggest. I mean, he's a heck of a deer. I'll never complain about that.
I just want to know where in time zones it switches from an 8-pointer to a 4x4. That's what I want to figure this out. Like at what point does it
I don't even know what it is either. Yeah. It seems like it's just everybody has their own way. Or I've heard people call instead of an 8-pointer, they call them a 4-pointer, but they actually mean like a 4 on both sides, So it's super, super weird how that works out.
Because it's like you start the East, we call them 8-pointers, 9-point, 10-pointers, or we call them 6s with no brows, whatever the case may be, right? And then you start to go out west and it stays there, and then you get like west of Kansas and everything is 4x4, 5x5. Like it's crazy. Or like you said, they call them a 4-pointer, and it's not a 4-pointer, it's an 8-pointer.
Just making this up off the top of my head. Is it a elk country kind of thing? Because you typically hear 4x4, 3x3 with elk, 6x6.
Yeah.
Is it the closer you get to elk country, the more the whitetail kind of takes it over?
Yeah, maybe. We have quite a few elk up by us. Like north of the shop here, we probably have, I don't know, maybe half an hour. We got quite a big herd of elk. So yeah, could definitely be that. Yeah, it's just it is cool though. I mean, wherever you go and start talking hunting with people, it's just cool to see what other people call or like that.
Well, Well, that's the same.
Are they brow tines or eye guards?
Eye guards on a mule deer, brow tines on a whitetail.
All right, I like it. I like it.
Not sure why. Not sure why I do that, but yeah, I don't know. It's some internal thing. Every time I shoot a mule deer, every time I shoot a mule deer, it's eye guards. Every time I shoot a whitetail, it's brow tine.
Fair enough.
It's crazy. So like you have here, right? Like in New England on the East Coast, we're in the northern part of it. So like if you go even north of us, they don't care about inches. Inches is not important to them. Like they don't care all about inches. It's all about weight. Whatever the deer weighs. Like they'll be like,
Oh, really?
yeah, oh yeah. They're like, I shot a 200. And I'm like, a 200 incher? No, 200 pounds. Like that's their thing. Like they get patches for 200 pounds. Like when they shoot a big whitetail, they all want to shoot
Really?
200 pounds. There's a 200-pound club, the big buck club. Like that is the thing, dude, is poundage. They don't care about inches. Like we're all inch guys. They're pound guys. They don't care. Like they shoot small rack ones, but they're all about the pounds. No matter what, it's all about the pounds.
You can shoot a 200-inch deer. You don't really care because it was 225 pounds.
Exactly. That's exactly.
That's
You have conversations with these
crazy.
guys from up north, and they're like, I'm like, oh man, that's a real nice deer. How big is that thing? And they're like, 212 pounds, and I'm like, no, the antlers. He's like, I don't know, I don't care about the antlers. He was over 200 pounds. That's all I care about. And I'm like, dude, the thing's 180 inches. He's like, I don't care about that. It's over 200 pounds. Like,
dog's chewing on the antlers now. That's nuts.
yeah, it is kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
no, that's weird. I mean, yeah, I guess it's cool to see how much, or like know how much they weigh too. But yeah, I've shot 140-inch deer with that were 200 pounds. I've shot 140-inch deer that were 300 pounds. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's cool to know, but yeah, it's crazy how when you go to different parts of the country, that what people are focused on and how people talk about their trophies, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It is nuts. Especially, it's crazy. Especially when you get into that whole like you were talking, the 4x4, like with muleys and stuff, because they don't get like big eye guards on a muley. Like guys out here, when we get big brow tines, people freak out about big brow tines on whitetails for some reason. Like, look at the giant, but like a muley, you don't care. You're like, oh, dude, that's a 4x4. He's 190 inches. Like, stick him. Like,
Yeah. No, it's weird. Like you said, mule deer, they don't get big brow tines. Like, I think the biggest one I've shot had maybe like 3.5, 4-inch eye guards, I would get, but they're like, they're not big, but it's like, just kind of going back to the inches and how people score deer, like, or how they judge deer. We go out to Montana and hunt mule deer quite frequently, and like we're like, we don't really care how wide a deer is, we're looking at the overall. But like all the ranchers out there, they do not care about the overall deer. Like they could shoot a 2x2, and if he's 30 inches wide, that's a giant deer to them. It's so weird. Like you could shoot a 13-inch wide deer that scores 190 inches, and they would rather have you just shoot it because it's not wide.
They want the width.
Super, super weird.
They want the width. That's the big thing.
Yep, that's how they judge a big deer. It's by width.
That's wild. I would never really. I mean, like.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And we're all looking for
Like
mass and tine lengths and.
Yeah, you're looking for the overall. And honestly, I like a mule deer that's super narrow and super tall. I think that looks awesome. But yeah, my dad shot like a narrow, tall deer, and most landowners would be like, "Oh, that's a good one to get out of the herd," And then so you send the landowners pictures, and the one deer, he's like, "Yeah, that's an okay deer," And then you send him a 20 inches smaller, but he's 6 inches wider. He's like, "Oh, that's a really nice deer. Awesome. Where'd you get that one at?" Like he could give a shit less about the deer that scores more, as long as, unless it's wide,
That's just crazy. That's crazy how they're like people are like that. Like it's weird to me. I don't know. Everyone has their own perspective on what's a big deer, right? Like whether it's a
Yeah.
moose, elk, whatever the case may be, no matter what region that you're in. It's just
Yeah.
more power to them,
Yeah.
man.
It's oh, for sure. Yeah. It's weird though. Like, and that's the biggest thing with hunting that's super cool is that it doesn't really matter. Whatever's big to you is big to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool how that works. I mean, if they want me to shoot a 190-inch deer that's 13 inches wide, I'll take that one out of the herd for you if you really want. You can shoot that. You can shoot that 25-inch wide, 130-inch deer I was eyeing up earlier. But yeah, it's just crazy how it works. And I think I just think that's something that maybe they look at, and the frame on a wide mule deer looks so much more impressive than a frame on a narrow, tall deer. They just look so big, boxy, framey, and I think that's your typical mule deer. It's like what everybody thinks of as a 30-inch wide mule deer. So yeah, even though it's few and far between. I mean, you don't shoot. I shouldn't say you don't, but there's very few deer that are 30 inches wide, in your average hunting area, I should say.
That's crazy. Well, Trace, I got one last question for you, buddy, and you might know what it is. Trace, what drives you outdoors, my friend?
Oh, what drives me to be outdoors? Just my family, my friends, just the joy of hunting. It's just what's always drove me. It's just a good, just a great place to be. And yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have gotten a better explanation of that when you shot your moose. Like everybody was there, everybody got to see it, everyone got to be part of it, man, and it definitely came around full circle for you.
Yeah, that's just the biggest thing is like having my family there is kind of what matters the most to me. Just my dad, my mom, my wife, my son, my brother, my friends. It's just that's what matters most to me. It's pretty cool to share all those experiences with family and friends. So.
And especially as your boy starts to get a little bit older, he gets to be part of it. And now, you set the bar pretty high for him, but I guess doesn't the student always outlearns the teacher, right? That's how it's supposed to go. So excited to see what he does.
That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. But I've said multiple times, and I never really thought of it. I've been like, there's not much going to top this moose hunt, but I guarantee my son's first deer that he shoots will top it. I mean, that's the thing. Like I said, that's what drives me is family and friends and being in the outdoors and stuff. So just to see someday when my son shoots a deer, that'll be probably one of the more emotional, cool moments in my life.
Absolutely. Trace, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, check out your taxidermy page, so on and so forth, man, and congratulations on your moose.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Tall Times Taxidermy Studio. And then my Instagram handle for my personal page is at Tatted Bowman. So yeah, find me on Instagram, give me a follow. Post a lot of stuff about moose and deer hunting. So yeah.
Awesome, Trace. Well, man, we really appreciate you joining us, bro. Congratulations on such an amazing moose. I guess we're going to have you back for mule deer stories after because we didn't get to know those. They all got ate up with all the moose stories. So we appreciate it, man. And
for sure.
And for everyone else, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.